Welcome everybody to another edition of WCW 2005 here in TEW 2020 as time for a big Nitro only pay-per-view as it's time for WCW WrestleWar live from the Minneapolis Target Center in beautiful Minneapolis, Minnesota. So let's get rolling with the show itself. It's going to be main evented by, of course, RVD versus Kanyon versus Guerrero for the World Championship. We're going to have Goldberg versus Frye, Wright versus Jett, Jarrett, Chavo versus Jonathan Toro, America's Most Wanted, defending the tag titles against Helms and Titus Tomko. Raven taking on Mesias in continuation of their war. Chavo and Tajiri teaming up to take on Jindrak and Devine of the Chosen Few. Cruiserweight triple threat match between Sydal, Prince Osei, and Skipper. Jett getting his U.S. title shot against Elix, Wright, and of course, Hart Legacy taking on Ninkyo in institution of their feud. Let's get rolling with the actual show, which starts out with a opening video. Let's just double check. All right, yep. Sorry. Which, focuses on the big stuff of the, the Mesias Raven feud, the Goldberg Frye feud, and of course the big triple threat main event for the world title. That open video gets an 83. As you can see here, and then we go on. First Ninkyo come out with Stacy Kiebler, and then the Hart Legacy come out, but they bring out a very special backup to keep Stacy Kiebler in line on the outside and not get involved during the match. And that is, of course, Hart. Hart gets a decent pop, and, she's just basically making a visit here to Nitro to back up her, I guess, cousin? Teddy's Hart, like a cousin, sort of, and Jack is just a friend of the family. But now it's time for the actual match. See here, I'm just going over what happened as far as the match. Okay, that's interesting. Blah 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 blah. Okay, we got some. Okay, sorry, just looking over the result of the match here. So of course, Ninkyo basically came together as a team to go after with Yang, basically turning heel, joining up with Stacy Kiebler and Kaz. As since Stacy Kiebler was gone for a few months, really shooting TV show, we gave them a show in Japan, became a even bigger model, and it's now backing these guys up with help from their with help from their oh god I'm losing the word here with help from their sponsors. There, I forgot the word that it will completely refer to Yuzuka, but isn't really. Anyway, Hart Legacy, of course, your typical bay faces there, and they're just flying around. And this is like it's a tough, hard hitting match, but it's also a match with lots of planchas, topes, big moves, Kaz kicking out of people, Yang playing a cocky heel, kicking the crap out of Hart and Evans. Jack Evans plays babyface, undeterred. Eventually, fighting back, tagging Teddy, who does flip it around. Stacy Kiebler gets on the ring apron to sort of try to distract the ref, but Hart goes around, actually pulls her down. They square off for a second, but then Stacy backs off because she's not an actual wrestler. Back in the ring, things continue. Battle, Yang hits a big Yang time for a near fall, but Teddy makes a save at the last second. They actually hit their Tart attack also near the end of the match, but Kaz comes in and goes crazy. Things break down. All four men are fighting, and we get a dive turn on the outside. First Kaz gets thrown to the outside. Teddy hits a big wild dive. Then Yang hits a big side moonsault, not a side moonsault, but a big springboard 450 on onto Teddy, and then Jack Evans goes up to the top and hits a wild 630 insane corkscrew plancha onto the outside, and all four men continue to fight on the outside until the ref reaches the count of 10, and this match comes to a double count out. And on one of these moves, Teddy Hart injures himself and now has moved his back ring. This gets a 63, which is slightly disappointing. I guess it's interesting because we have. Yeah, I'm really. It should be closer to 70, but I guess the injury hurt things, and I'm just seeing if there's anything else that really hurt the match here because after about 13 minutes, they go to double count out. Okay, I guess. Yeah, disrupted by injury. Okay, I guess so. Basically, we're going to say the match sort of stopped for a minute after the big dives, as Teddy hurt his back, and there we go. But this gets a gets a 63, a pretty decent opener. Probably would have been a low 70s if not for the injury and everything else. But that sort of stuff happens. Kaz and Jack Evans, of course, both look great because honestly, they're like kind of like almost main eventers, at least like as far as their in-ring ratings go, but just aren't like doing it quite yet. But of course, yep, I see that. So back in the ring, basically both teams brawl for the back. Well, Stacy, it says gets embarrassed by Nanny Hart, and this can either be just her like sort of like putting her over knee and spanking her, or actually stripping her. Just depends on how what we want to do here in 2005 WCW. Because that would be still pop that would get a huge big pop at this time because it's 2005 in American wrestling. Because 63 again, not bad as this feud looks like it will continue even after this match has not come to a correct conclusion. And next up, we have the U.S. title match of Elix Wright defending his U.S. title against Jason Jett. Jett basically made challenge for the title. Won his match to earn the shot, and then involved in some matches with Wright so far. Honestly, not the most built up feud, but basically Wright is on both shows, and he's just going back for the defending title like a fighting champion. And this is a decent match, but unfortunately, we get another injury. It's one of those weird injuries, slack jaw. So hopefully it'll just be something Wright will just have to like stay out of the ring for a little bit. But regardless, like I mentioned, like this match goes back and forth. Like everybody hitting their spots. And it's a very solid battle. Like nothing too special. Like probably like 3.5 stars. Doesn't really go into overdrive. Jett goes for the money clip. Wright gets out of it. Wright hits a few big German suplexes. Tries to lock on the STF, but Jett gets to the ropes. Jett does some heelish work to get the advantage, but eventually Wright fights back. And eventually, Wright, I imagine, hits a few big, kicks, and Jett fires back and goes for the not his crash landing or whatever we're calling it now. Eventually, Wright gets out. Wright avoids it, hits a few big moves, and eventually hits a big single arm DDT right in the middle of the ring. And with nowhere to go, Wright gets a pinfall victory, 1-2-3 over Jason Jett, and gets a second defense of the United States Heavyweight title here. And as noted, Alex Wright got a slack jaw. This got a 67. Jett got a 69. Wright got a 76. So probably lost a bit because of that. But yeah, Alex Wright looked really good out there, and a solid win for Wright on TV, on pay-per-view as he makes their defense of the U.S. title. And then Wright celebrates as this gets a 71 as fans cheer as the announcers put over Wright being a very successful U.S. champion so far in his reign. Next up is a bit of an interesting tag match, as of course Jindrak and Devine are members of the Chosen Few, and they went after Brother Ray, but Chavo and Tajiri helped make the save for Brother Ray and is involved in a little feud with the Chosen Few since then, and now they're facing off in a bit of a tag team turmoil here at WrestleWar. And it's sort of like the match you'd expect between these two teams, which I think I forgot to add a storyline. I forgot to add the Brother Ray Jarrett storyline to this, so it sort of hurt that. Let me see here. It hurt it by about 22, yeah. Hurt it by like probably 3 or 4 points here, unfortunately. But I mean, it's still a pretty decent match here. Chavo and Tajiri are pretty solid workers, even though like they sort of been stuck in the mid card because like they're not super charismatic and like they don't have great characters. And Jindrak and Devine are slowly getting better and better. And that's sort of the story of this match. Like Chavo and Tajiri are working together. Chavo's of course a former tag team champion with U.S. champion Elix Wright. Tajiri has been pretty successful, of course, in his WCW career, winning Cruiserweight and U.S. titles, but never got quite to the top. And now they're fighting off 2 young stars who want their bold shot at the top. Devine gets to fly around a bit. Jindrak comes in being the solid heel member, power heel member of the team. He he eventually comes in, throws both men in. Tajiri does get some babyface fire, but eventually Jindrak comes in, drops Tajiri with a few big power moves. Eventually Chavo does come in, but Jindrak is able to get basically drop Chavo Guerrero with a chair shot on the outside, then come back in, hit his finisher, and pick up a pinfall victory here on WrestleWar for the Chosen Few as Jindrak Devine get the win here in a little over 12 minutes. And like I said, solid match was a 61, but was probably hurt by 4 or 5 points because Tajiri gets a 61, Chavo gets a 66, Devine gets a 68, and Mark Jindrak gets a 72. Hold on, I just want to make sure I said this. For the opening tag match, Yang got like a 49, Kaz got an 87, Teddy Hart got like a 68, if I remember right, and Jack Evans got an 88 because he's insane. Yeah, I think I might have forgot to do that. And also, same thing, Wright got a 76, and I think Jett got a 67. Regardless, solid match here, as of course the heels get the win, who's the crowd, and a big win as the announcers put over, with the Brother Ray Jeff Jarrett match later tonight, they have a chance for a sweep at WrestleWar. And post match, they celebrate to the boos of the crowd as this gets a 69. Nice. And next up, we have another title match as Matt Sydal, our young babyface cruiserweight champion, takes on both Prince Osei and Elix Skipper. It was originally going to be Elix Skipper, trying to win back his title, but Prince Osei, talked Elix Skipper along with a very, large amount of money and a promise of some fine guiding women, along with another additional, donation to the Eric Bischoff fund for for Eric Bischoff, I guess, to be interested in this triple threat match. And this is a pure high spot match with a little bit of story. Prince Osei is a pretty decent worker. Matt Sydal can fly around a lot, and Skipper is actually pretty good. But this is all everybody hitting their spots. Osei, doing a little, basically playing the heel, trying to do some heel shenanigans and sneak in, get some quick wins. But both Skipper and Sydal, break each other's, pinfalls up to make sure, Osei doesn't get the win. Skipper, then goes after Sydal himself as they get to do some high spots together. Sydal hitting some big flips. Skipper hitting his big kicks and suplexes. Osei, eventually getting back on offense, hitting some solid movement himself. But eventually, what happens is Osei ends up on the outside. Sydal and actually the Skipper get to do some, actual back and forth action between each other. And Sydal, Skipper goes for the overdrive. Sydal gets out of it. Sydal hits a big sort of roll up through chaos theory, goes up top, hits a 450, and picks up pinfall victory here over a former Cruiserweight champion. And Matt Sydal makes his second defense as a Cruiserweight champion, and actually a very solid match for the Cruiserweight division. It says it's a poor match, but what does the game know? It's a 57, which isn't fantastic or anything, but considering Sydal and doesn't really have any overness, and Osei is getting there, and Skipper's sort of not super over either. This is a very solid one. Sydal gets a 45, Osei gets a 54, Skipper gets a 59, and a big win for Matt Sydal here on pay-per-view as he successfully defends his Cruiserweight championship. And post-match, Sydal celebrates with the title to a 39 as he's slowly getting over. All right. And for the next match, first Raven comes out to cheers the crowd. Well, mostly cheers the crowd. Still some confusion because he's not really playing much of a actual heel. But Morningstar comes out to the top of the ramp alongside Mesias, and he basically says that despite the best efforts of Raven, Mesias has been rebound to him, and there's no way he'll be able to stop. You'll have no way of stopping him tonight. This will be your end, Raven. You will be nevermore. And now it's time for the actual match. And this is the sort of match you'd expect with with mid 2000s Raven and Mesias just being Mesias, as it's all all of these men just going after each other right from the start. This is not a technical masterclass. This is not even, this is a I don't say a pure story match, but this is just a wild bit of mayhem, as we have chair shots, we have cane shots, we have people going through tables, we have Mesias getting attacked by the Seekers of Sin, we have Morningstar getting involved against Raven, we have Raven probably taking a big bump onto the floor, we have Raven going after Mesias and going after Morningstar, we have Raven chanting random things that seem to try to unbind Mesias from Morningstar, we have a wild match, but eventually a few during the end of the match Mesias just keeps on hitting big moves, and Raven just laughs at him as he slowly gets up after each one. And eventually Mesias does get the basically kill shot in, hitting a big choke slam, and then picking up Raven and hitting him with the Crucifix Powerbomb in a little under 12 minutes to get the pinfall victory here at WrestleWar, as the other members of the feud are all out on the outside. Solid match. It gets an 80 overall. It's about what I expected. I was hoping maybe they pull something successful out and get a little higher, but not the end of the world. And like I said, lots of interference. I put this as a mayhem. Raven gets a 74. Raven gets an 85. What's important, I would say, argue more important, is what happens after the match. So, Seekers of Sin are Seekerson try to interfere, but Morningstar comes in, and Mesias and Morningstar take them out, and then Raven slowly is getting up, still with a grim smile on his face. When Morningstar basically, calls for Mesias to kill him, and as Mesias grabs him, picks him up for a big power bomb. Raven spits a multicolored mist right into Mesias' eyes. Raven rolls out of the ring. Morningstar gets in the ring. Mesias is down, and when he gets up, he roars, and he grabs Morningstar by the throat. He picks him up, and he chokeslams him down, and then leaves. As a crowd, the announcers, and everybody else is very confused, as it seems that Raven has finally unbound Mesias from Morningstar, and we'll just have to see what happens from there. As this gets a 79. No actual turn yet, because, the crowd would, cheer a big choke slam on Morningstar, but Mesias, my friend, is not a babyface as of yet. Maybe he won't be. Maybe he will. Who knows? Next up, we have a big singles match between two men who have been going after each other for the past few months, as the Sean O'Haire take it on Jonathan Toro. And this is a decent match, helped, honestly, by the fire of the feud between them, because, unfortunately, they just don't click. They can't quite put a great match between each other because they're not two great workers themselves, but even with the help of the road agents, they just don't click, and the match is sort of slow and plodding, and sort of a series of missed spots. Not really missed off, but a series of spots. O'Haire hits his big boot, hits his power slam, hits his clothesline, Toro does some brawling, goes for his roaring elbow late, but O'Haire gets out of it, and eventually, after but there's some slow chin locks, headlocks, attempts at submissions from both men, sort of trying to play something else as it slowed down. Eventually, the match does get back up to a more high impact point, but O'Haire takes over, big boot, power slam, lariat, picks him up, Widowmaker, 1, 2, 3. Sean O'Haire gets a big victory here at Jonathan Toro as he gets a big win over the Roman Empire. So yeah, this is honestly disappointing. I was behind the booking door here, I was going to maybe do a longer term feud with O'Haire and Toro here. Basically, maybe Toro being doing some sort of big attack on O'Haire post haste. Basically set up a longer feud that would blow off and be in a pay-per-view cycle or two. But with them not even what's the word I'm looking for here? With them not even with them having no chemistry, that's very, 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 very unfortunate. O'Haire even did a good job slowly building the match. So yeah, I even put on slow build because I wanted to sort of work the idea these guys are slowly working on each other. But these things happen. But O'Haire got a 73, Toro got a 64. Like I said, it didn't click, but it still got a 78. So it actually could have been a lot worse. So I guess I should be happy that the crowd was hot and the feud heat was high. And post match, O'Haire celebrates to the cheers of the crowd as that gets a 73. Now it's time for another big singles match with a feud that's been simmering for the past month or so, as his brother Wright taking on Jeff Jarrett, and these two men just go right after each other from the start. Lots of fighting, lots of brawling, not a lot of technicals going on here. Jarrett eventually takes the advantage with some cocky heel tactics. Slowly works on Brother Ray, but Brother Ray fights back. He goes for a figure four, but Brother Ray powers out of it, throws Jeff Jarrett to the outside, and sort of we got some limited referee involvement here as ref lets things goes into the guardrail. Some plunder gets involved. We get a shot from a trash can. We get a cane shot from stuff left earlier tonight, brawling up and down the ramp. Some crowd brawling because this is mid-2000s Jeff Jarrett back in the ring. Jeff takes back over after going low, goes for the stroke, but Brother Ray gets his foot on the ropes as he's too close. Jeff Jarrett tries to lock on the figure four, but again Brother Ray powers out. Eventually there's a ref bump. Jeff Jarrett tries to bring the guitar in, and he basically charges up and goes for the big goes for the big shot. But Brother Ray is ready for him, grabs the guitar, as he has it as Jeff Jarrett has it at the apex, kicks Brother Ray in the gut. The guitar falls, powerbomb. Guitar goes to the outside. Brother Ray picks up Jeff Jarrett. Boom, full Nelson bomb right in the middle of the ring. 1, 2-3. Brother Ray gets a huge victory over a multi-time world champion Jeff Jarrett here at WrestleWar in likely the biggest win of his WCW career so far. So yeah, big win for Brother Ray here. And Jarrett wasn't totally happy about it, but like I kept him strong, so that was that. And honestly, like an 81, which is solid. Like I was hoping for maybe a little higher. Jarrett got an 87, Brother Ray got an 80. But honestly, sometimes you just got to get big wins. And honestly, like Jarrett was getting over enough that like it was a worry I wasn't involving him in the tippy top main event. So this is really to cool Jarrett off just a little bit and give hopefully Brother Ray some overness so he can build into like at least a quasi main event level face. And also this feud may possibly just continue because like the chosen few won't sit down for this. But a big win for Brother Ray here on pay per view, and Jeff Jarrett basically yells at the ref after the match. Does his does the pissy heel being upset about stuff as Brother Ray celebrates at the top of the rep as the answers put over Brother Ray victory here at WrestleWar as this gets a 78. Now it's time for a big tag title match as America's Most Wanted defend against the somewhat surprising team of Helms and Tomko. Of course, Tomko is Helms' new bodyguard for the past couple months. Tomko basically got a couple wins. Helms and Tomko then had a tag team win. Helms basically said, after that single win, they deserved a tag title shot. America's Most Wanted were upset about that. But Tomko got a win over America's Most Wanted to get the shot with help from Helms. And there we go. So, and this match is sort of like that idea. Like, America's Most Wanted are a well-oiled team, and as champions, the best tag team in the world. So they hit lots of lots of tag team, lots of double teams, lots of big moves at the start to sort of throw Helms and Tomko off. But here's the thing: Tomko's a big powerhouse of a guy, so he throws them around. And Shane Helms is a former world champion, so once he's in the ring, like he's a heel, so he doesn't quite out-wrestle him, but he takes his shots and he goes after both Storm and Harris, with big moves. Does a big dive of his own, hits some big suplexes, hits this big super kick, midpoint of the match, and goes for the nightmare on Helm Street. But Storm rolls out of the way, tags in Harris, who goes to work on Helms. Tomko eventually comes in as the heel, backup and goes after both men. We get a bit of four-way brawl between things calms down. Helms actually, then nails a super kick, the loads of the super kick and nails it like a gunshot on James Storm. It gets a near fall. He then actually picks up and tries to go for the vertebreaker, but Storm reverses it into reverse blocking hold and then getting a backslide for a near fall. AMW take over, hit some other big moves and go for their Death Sentence finisher, but Tomko breaks it up again. And then things get broken up again, and it really looks like they're going to use this advantage as Tomko hits a big boot and powerbomb on James Storm, tags in Helms, who then hits a super kick. Ref gets distracted as Helms loads himself up going for the night on Helm Street, and then out of nowhere, in comes, after not being seen since being taken out by Helms and Tomko a month ago, Reno, the former member of Helms Legacy, a former tag team champion, and he comes in and he just destroys Helms with a spear. Then he picks him up, hits a huge sit-down powerbomb, rolls out of the ring to the cheers of the crowd. Storm recovers, hits the 8-second ride. 1, 2, 3. America's Most Wanted defend their World Tag Team Championships, defeating Helms and Tomko with help from Reno. This gets an 80, and this was sort of the reason why I did this little feud to set up Reno coming back and going after his former leader in Gene Helms and the man who kind of replaced him, Titus Tomko. Overall, this gets an 80, pretty good. Like, I hoped it was going to be a little better, but it's Tomko. Harris gets a 72, James Storm gets an 82, so we're already seeing a bit of that separation there we saw in real life. Shane Helms gets an 86, Tomko gets a 36 because he's new, and we also have Reno, turning face, in which, yeah, that's fine, I don't care. But yeah, America's Wanted's third defense, and now we have a new feud here with Reno going after seemingly Helms and Tomko. We'll have to see what happens with that. As post-match, AEW celebrate to the cheers of the crowd, and Helms and Tomko go after Reno as he escapes through the crowd. As it gets a 65, as looks like Reno is back in WCW, and he's trying to get revenge on his former leader of the Helms Legacy stable. Next up is our semi-main event and a big challenge as Bill Goldberg takes on Don Frye in Don Frye's first big match in WCW. Of course, he made his debut attacking Goldberg with help, from his manager Randy Savage. And now it's time for these two men to face off finally in the ring. And it's the match you'd expect, like just two guys beating the crap out of each other for a little under 9 minutes. As Goldberg goes for his big moves, does even a little bit of submission work, but Frye easily sort of turns it around. Frye, goes for some big shots, big, looping shots and jabs to go over Goldberg. Goldberg fights back. Goldberg, powers through, hits a spear a couple minutes in, goes for the jackhammer, but Frye block it. Frye hits a sort of, an interesting sort of like jiu-jitsu throw, tries to lock in submission, but Goldberg fights out of it. Goldberg, powers out of it, throws, sort of tosses Frye with a big sort of like a Finley-ish forward roll slam. Goes for a big suplex, hits another spear, and then goes for the jackhammer again. But this time, Frye, as he's getting up, sort of locks onto Goldberg's arm. They sprout to sort of a sloppy turn into an armbar, but Goldberg's foot on the ropes. Frye has to break it up. Frye fights back again, going after Goldberg with big punches and jabs and kicks, trying to take him down, but Goldberg fights back. Again, Frye goes for a takedown, but Goldberg blocks it, turns it into a suplex. A sloppy one, but still a gut wrench suplex. Goldberg then hits another spear, but then as he's picking him up for another jackhammer, Savage grabs Goldberg's leg. Goldberg drops Frye, turns to go after Savage. Frye comes from behind, hits him with a sort of like modified suplex, and then locks in and rolls through into an armbar right in the middle of the ring. And with nowhere to go, after a little over under 9 minutes, Bill Goldberg has to tap out. As a huge win, Don Frye defeats Bill Goldberg, yes, with help with his manager Randy Savage, but Don Frye gets a huge win in the semi-main event of WrestleWar. As this gets an 80, as it was capped because of the match length. But also the match would have been worse. Goldberg probably would have an 84, 85 if we went over 10 minutes because of his explosive stat. But Frye gets an 80, Goldberg gets a 91. So because of lack of selling. Yes, it's Don Frye and Goldberg. I am not shocked by this. Savage gets some good work at ringside. But yeah, pretty, again, no blowout matches with this pay-per-view, but a very solid show so far. And post-match, Don Frye and Randy Savage celebrate up on the top of the ramp to the boos of the crowd, as announced to put over a huge victory for Don Frye, despite Randy Savage's help, as this gets a 74. Now it's time for a main event, months in the making, Rob Van Dam, Kanyon, and Eddy Guerrero. First, out comes Kanyon and Eddy to, both big pops. Eddy comes out to Kanyon first comes out to a big face pop. He's not put over, his credentials as a former world champion and one of the top wrestlers of this new WCW era. Then Eddy Guerrero comes out to a huge hero response. Guerrero Family Values t-shirt. Booze, cocky heel schmirk, very tippy top, super heel Eddy Guerrero. Come out to the ring. And then walk it. Out comes your world champion, Rob Van Dam. The whole effing show out to the ring to a big pop as they all face off, they get announced, and then the bell rings. This match is absolutely exceptional, great, and it's what you expect from Rob Van Dam, a Kanyon who didn't have his problems, and Eddy Guerrero in early 2005. Just three of the top members of the wrestling world at this point going after each other. But here's the problem. The crowd is burnt out. It was already at emotional high, and me, being an idiot, did not put a cooldown. But here's the thing, I haven't needed a cooldown before, so I'm not sure, if we just went over the 3-hour marker as far as wrestling, or something else happened here, because, and again, I've played literally thousands of hours of this game, I should know this by now, but, yeah, because, I know I've had back-to-back, 99s before, so that shouldn't stop this. The only thing I can think of is maybe, I did put this down as a spectacle, but I don't think that would affect it, even though, I had, Goldberg Frye was just a regular match, so, yeah. I don't know. This game sometime, regardless, I'm going to go through the match still. This is exactly, any, basically every kind of combination double team, like RVD and Kanyon going after Eddy, but eventually Kanyon trying to get the Kanyon cutter on RVD and Eddy taking to go for Kanyon, but Eddy of course being Eddy and eventually going after Rob Van Dam. Eddy and Kanyon both going after RVD, but then eventually fighting because they realize they hate each other, and they both want the title. RVD flying around with big planchas, big dives, big topes. Eddy hitting his big suplexes, only get broken up by Kanyon. Kanyon going for the Kanyon cutter and even hitting it on RVD, but then Eddy coming in hitting with a blue thunder bomb, then trying to hit a frog splash on both men, but both rolling away. Ref counting to 10, both men continuing to fight. Kanyon going for the flatliner, but Eddy coming in from behind and attacking him. Rob Van Dam hitting a big rolling thunder on Kanyon, but Eddy going after brawling him. RVD eventually going for the 5-star frog splash on Eddy Guerrero in the middle of the ring and nailing it, but can't make this at the last second, trying to hit the cannon cutter on RVD and then going to pin Eddy, but Eddy kicking out the last second. All three men eventually brawling on the outside. Eventually, it all breaks down. Eddy hits the big brainbuster on RVD, goes up top for the frog splash, and absolutely nails it. But Kanyon then comes off the top rope with an elbow drop of his own, breaking apart all three men down. Kanyon drills Eddy with the Kanyon cutter, goes to a pinfall. RVD breaks it up. Eddy's on the outside. Kanyon goes for a Kanyon cutter. RVD pushes him off, hits him with a Van Dam goes up top, 5-star frog splash right in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. Rob Van Dam retains WCW World Championship once again in the main event of WrestleWar. So as you can see, Guerrero got a 92, Kanyon got a 93, RVD got a 91. So this should have gotten like a 90, 91, but I mean, announcing maybe hurt about like a point or two, but also like everything else. Like, look here, good, bonus. Okay, so low morale for RVD, which honestly I should probably just give him a bunch of money because like he would not be unhappy after 5 months of world champion, despite whatever weird booking like a year ago he's upset about. Regardless, I'm not going to get upset about. Poor announcing, but also done to a crowd that was already at an emotional high. So yeah, so maybe with the bouncing it was at an 89 and that hurt, but anyway. Rob Van Dam celebrating, Kanyon and Eddy are making their way to the back. When, coming from the top of the ramp, is a triumvirate, Kiebler, Lance Storm, Mike Awesome, and April Hunter. Kanyon actually turns around to try to help out Rob Van Dam, but he gets like just murked on the outside, because like Kanyon's going up to the ring, realizes what's happening. He comes back on the save, and Awesome just tosses him against the guardrail. He comes in. RVD is ready to fight. Like, throws the chair and actually hits, like, a big, like, sort of, like, quasi-Van Damator on Lance Storm. But Awesome, Kidman, and the rest, are ready. And they just maul. Big Awesome bomb. Storm gets up. Super kick. Kidman nails him with the title belt. And then he makes the announcement. He's calling his shot, and he wants his title shot right now. The ref rings the bell. And, RVD tries to make one last shot, but Kidman picks him up, nails him again with a big DDT, and picks him up. Kid Crusher, 1, 2, 3. Kidman is your new WCW World Heavyweight Champion in a shocking way to end WrestleWar. And there you go. So, people sort of expected it. But yeah, on an Nitro show, Kidman comes over from Revolution, calls a shot, and wins the World Championship, ending RVD's title reign. So yeah, there we go. That's it all. Okay, 88. Okay, cool. I always forget, we have some good stuff to save it. Kind of a disappointing show in ring, honestly. I really hope we were going to get, an 85 or something with one of these big matches. I hope Frye and Goldberg have, good chemistry, and we could have, an 84, 85. Brother Ray and Jeff Jarrett was a little disappointing. Toro was a bad chemistry. Mesias and Raven, I probably maybe should have put as a Wild Brawl or something. Or maybe Brother Ray and Jeff Jarrett should have been Wild Brawl regardless. And honestly, the injuries also didn't help. this stuff happens. Not the end of the world. Still got an 88, so I'm not going to be upset about it. But really, it could have been like a 91 or 92 if the main event was the main event. But anyway, Rob Van Dam, point out as a good example. Or yeah, great performance. Let's see here. Who also did well? Honestly, who did really great? Right. Right. You did the job, but we're great, so there you go. And Kaz also. So there we go. A very big moment as Billy Kidman becomes the WCW World Champion and as leader of the Triumvirate. Now the interesting thing is, like, he's not going to get a overnews boost because it was in a match, which sort of makes sense for the, Money in the Bank called shot, whatever you want to call it, like this type of like change. And he is the first heel to win it, so that's also interesting because like I pretty sort of had Kanyon, then I had RVD win it, so like I sort of like had to shock people. But yeah, so let's see here. Let's see here. Teddy Hart, yeah, both. Okay, we'll see how these do. Brother Ray, yeah, things. I mean, it's Tomko in 2005 there. Yeah, what do you expect? So, first medical, let's just see here. Okay, Teddy Hart. Okay, it's 2 days off. So guess what? You don't work tomorrow, Teddy. And Alex Wright is also off. So yeah, that's fine. So to review, your new World Heavyweight Champion is Billy Kidman after a 4-month reign from RVD. And yeah, this is sort of like, I mean, I guess you could say Shane Helms is also a big thing, but like Billy Kidman in this version of reality, becoming a world champion is a huge thing after, being, U.S. champion twice, being world tag champion twice, at least under me, and winning the Mayhem tournament. So there you go. But yeah, still world tag team champions is AMW. Still your US champion is Alex Wright, and still your cruiserweight champion is Matt Sydal. So just to go over things as far as overness, let's see here. Reset. Yeah, any brand. So first, RVD. Yeah, I mean RVD is still stupidly over. Like he's still like, I mean, it's RVD. Like I'm guessing this might be his pop cap though. Let's see here. Did Kane or Eddy get hurt by the last year? Let's see here. Kanyon lost like 2 points. Okay, that's fine. And Eddy. No, okay, he's the same. All right. Let's see here. Alex Wright. He actually lost a bit. I guess he had a bad match. He gained, he lost. That could be like other stuff going on. So Chris Harris. Harris actually lost a little bit of pop here, probably from doing a job on TV, I think. So because he's the guy who lost Tomko, right? That makes sense. And James Storm is James Storm. So there we go. Let's see here now. Let me just keep it to just Nitro. So Goldberg, did he lose a lot from dropping? Okay, he lost literally a point in some areas. Cool. Did Brother Ray gain a lot from winning here? Let's see. Your survey says okay. He actually like a big win here. So actually now let's check Jarrett out. And Jarrett. Okay, that was sort of the perfect thing because he's actually more over probably because he had some big win. So okay, like that did not hurt him at all. Let's see here. Don Frye. Frye's like, yeah, I mean honestly that's probably his pop cap. Let's see here. Anybody else of note? Let's see here. Matt Sydal. Yeah, I mean he's slowly getting there. And honestly, part of the problem is like even Elix Skipper, who's like probably I think the most overgone cruiserweight division, he's only at a 45. So there's only so much overness people can get before I have to bring like the actual people from the main roster in. Well, not the main roster, but the rest of the roster. Mesias, decent stuff. Like he's not super over like he was. I mean, this is basically his height when he faced off Eddy for the title. And honestly, I've kind of been not treating him great since it. Well, not really badly, just in weird angles. Morningstar is Morningstar. Did Raven get hurt by dropping to Mesias? Probably not. Nope. Okay, he's fine. Let's see here. Sean O'Hare. O'Hare's doing, like, again, O'Hare's another guy who's been sort of lost because he's been stuck in the upper mid card. But yeah, I can help him out. He had a bad match, but I'll need to regain him. And I think that's it for people we really care about over this. Yeah. Anyway, creatively, the first storyline. So Nitro against the Darkness is at an 80. Wright Jett's at a 68. The TV title feud's at an 80. Brother Ray Jarrett's at a 76. Cruiser Stuff's at a 57. Frye Goldberg's at an 83. Expensive Taste at a 66. O'Hare Toro is at a 78. The World Title Feuds, was the World Title Feud at an 83, and the Tag Title Feud's at a 77. And then, creative-wise, we've got RVD as number 1, Goldberg number 2, Eddy number 3, Rey Mysterio Jr., and moving into top 5 is Trisha Sky, which is very interesting to me. Next big thing, same people as before. Ray LePen is actually going up there. Yang, Lila Valdez is interesting as well. Hot Prospects is, okay. So yeah, Angel Fox, Keaton Sharp, Alyssa Alexander, interesting stuff. Talk to Talk, it's Kanyon, Flair, Booker, RVD, Jarrett as usual. Showstoppers is Ray, RVD, Eddy, AJ Styles, Truth, which is actually interesting. And Ring Generals is Storm, Ray, Eddy, Morningstar, Chavo. Who's Hot? Monty Brown, Jamie Noble, Eddie Guerrero, Chuck Palumbo, and Kaz. And yeah, that's about it. Size-wise, yeah, I mean, we're slowly getting there. Slowly getting some overness. And I think that's really it. Like, I mean, Kidman winning the title is a big deal, and sort of like something like that was sort of the plan once he won the title, is like specifically this moment. I wasn't sure like the actual what the match would be where he'd cash in, but it would be around here, either April or May. But yeah, I like, again, a disappointing main event there, and honestly, like, if we look at our show history real quick, just because let's see. So 82 Resident Revolution was an 82 as well. Super Bowl was a 97, so that's interesting. And that, again, Eddy and Kane was an 89, so I'm not sure what the difference was here. I really don't. And then Showdown Sun was 80 as well, so yeah. And of course, last year, Starcade was a 79. So yeah, I'm still not sure. Like, again, this game, I mean, I'm sure it's something as simple as just put a work the crowd match in before your 2 main events or something, but, shit happens. What can you do? Regardless, as always, big pay-per-view. We still did well, so can't complain too much. So if you enjoyed this, go to the like, comment below what you're liking, not liking, and of course, subscribe to the channel for plenty of TEW 2020 content such as this, my Ring of Honor 2022 series involving Cody Rhodes as the owner, and New Japan 2004. But that's it for now. Talk later, and adios. Have a good one.